All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. As Chip Ganassi Racing is closing in on another IndyCar Series championship, he took a huge step towards that today, along with seeing one of the kings of the IndyCar circuit add to his legacy. Legend Scott Dixon was able to make it 19 consecutive years with at least one IndyCar victory as he was able to hold off a determined Graham Rahal for the win at today's Gallagher Grand Prix at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Also lost in today's race was that Alex Palou all but wrapped up the series championship for 2023 as he finished seventh today, while Joseph Newgarden, who came into today's proceedings in second place, finished 25th. It was a very tough weekend for Newgarden. He was served with a sixth place penalty to begin this race for qualifying, so he started 19th. And then, we saw him get tangled up in that accident early on in this race. It really set him back. He finished the race two laps down, and it was a tough go from the word go for Joseph Newgarden. Overall, it's been a tough 6 days for Newgarden, or 7 days rather, as he was on the verge of closing the gap last week in the points on Palou in Nashville until a late caution in that race changed the tenor in the favor of Palou. Newgarden looked like he was probably going to win that race. The late caution changed things because Palou, strategy wise, decided to hang out there. But you know what? He didn't have the tires, and then that late caution allowed him to coast. It allowed him to save some tires, save his tires, and save some fuel. And before you knew it, Palou actually finished third in that race, while Newgarden finished fourth. And at one point, in my opinion, I feel that if that caution did not come up, Palou probably doesn't finish in the top 10. Newgarden probably gets top two at least. And we're talking about a different thing. And then, of course, obviously, the icing on the cake was the way that things went down today in Indy. You look at it, not only that, like I said, it's gone from bad to worse for Newgarden. He also got passed in the points today by Scott Dixon. As at this point, it's going to take three DNFs from Palou along with Newgarden or Dixon finishing probably in the top two or three of the next three races. And I doubt that's going to happen as you're looking at the IndyCar Series champion for this year. And I said this several weeks ago. I really said it after the race in downtown Detroit, where it's a scenario where, barring something unforeseen, and at that point, Palou is going to have to make a lot of mistakes in order not to win. And to his credit, he has kept his foot on the throttle. He is forcing the issue, and now he looks like he's going to coast to the championship here for 2023. A lot of big news around Alex Palou over the last couple of days. As of course, the question is going to be: is it going to be McLaren or Chip Ganassi that he's racing for next year? And it's not just McLaren. Is it going to be McLaren Formula One, McLaren IndyCar, or Chip Ganassi? There's a lot of going back and forth verbally between McLaren Racing and Chip Ganassi right now. So we just have to wait and see, as we might be looking at the most sought after free agent in auto racing come this off season, regardless of the circuit. But this day overall just belonged to Scott Dixon, who won this race in spite of the fact that Graham Rahal was in control for the majority of the race. And I say that because this was a very tough loss for Graham Rahal. It's been a tough season for him. He had the best car this weekend. We saw that in qualifying, and he had the best car today on the track as well. It's just one of those scenarios where the best car didn't win, the best driver did, and that was Scott Dixon. And credit to him, because you got to go back and remember how this race started for Scott Dixon. Yes, Newgarden really lost a couple of laps in that accident, but then Dixon was spun around during that accident, basically went to the back of the pack, and just his skill overall as a driver allowed him to chop away and chop away and chop away. And then once he got the lead, he was able to hold off a very determined Graham Rahal. This was one of those scenarios where if Graham Rahal probably had two more laps, he probably wouldn't have been would have been able to catch Dixon, but Dixon was able to hold him off. And then, of course, the expertise of Dixon overall led to this victory. He wasn't the only veteran driver that made some moves today. You look at Will Power. Will Power, the veteran driver for Penske Racing, began this race today at 17th and finished sixth. So obviously, for Power, he is the defending series champion. It's not he's going to come short of that this year overall, but still, it was a great showing for him. But nonetheless, for Chip Ganassi, they've just simply dominated this season, and today was another example of that. And now it's just a matter of how soon before Alex Palou, excuse me, clinches along with his contract situation. This scenario between McLaren and Chip Ganassi is going to get very dicey. So we just have to wait and see how that plays out. I'll tell you this much. I don't see a scenario, in my opinion, where Chip Ganassi allows him to leave after, the season that he's having. McLaren is saying there's a contract. Chip Ganassi is saying otherwise. It's going to be. I think this is going to get very dicey before it gets clear. But nonetheless, this day just belonged to Scott Dixon. A great race on his part, and another feather in the cap of one of the best racers that IndyCar has produced from this era. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.